What's up? What's happening?
We got to get like a clip or clips of the movie to put in before, you know?
Oh, yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea.
It'd be fun, you know?
I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind if we had sound drops in this episode of just Morgan Freeman saying, Andy Dufresne.
Andy Dufresne.
Andy Dufresne. Because that's what we're doing today, people. We're going to do the #1 movie on the IMDb Top 250 list, and we will be counting up, I guess.
9.3. It's got a
9.3
9.3 on the page and a 9.2 on the list.
It's super weird how the rating changes like that on IMDb. But,
is what it is.
I mean, I've seen this movie plenty of times. It is one of the consummate classics.
Yeah. This is my first viewing.
I mean, I'm jealous for you, bud.
It was
then you get to
great.
be like, wow, that was great.
Yeah, it was a very pleasant, very fun watch.
It's pretty
not
funny,
pleasant, but
because when I started getting in my Clint Eastwood phase, I remember watching. Oh, I forgot to put my fucking hat on. I don't want the camera to see my fucking destroyed scalp.
Well, now they know.
Still peeling.
Now they know.
Still peeling.
You look like you got a turtle head.
Yeah. Thanks.
Turtle's got the
I
squares.
look like the Thing.
Yeah. Yep. Does Kevin Feige responded?
No, nobody responded.
God damn it.
Nobody liked it.
Come on, Marvel, get on the ball.
0 likes, 0 retweets.
Well, give him time.
Not everybody can be Simu Liu, which,
That's
by
right.
the way,
Took him 3 years.
By the way, I was watching Nora from Queens, the Aquafina show, and he's in an episode where it's a flashback to her grandma in China, and he's just like in it.
Huh.
He's like her love interest. It's so fucking funny. That show is really funny. BD Wong especially is hilarious.
I gotta get on it
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. But anyways, back to Shawshank Redemption. What I was saying was when I was going through my Clint Eastwood phase, I really would watch that movie and pretend he directed it. That is the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
But I pretend that Clint Eastwood directed the Shawshank Redemption. I know goddamn well it's Frank Darabont.
Of course.
But I don't know. I'd say let's get into it.
Welcome to the dance floor, boys.
Frank Darabont.
Darabont.
Darabont
He,
also did
Walking Dead.
Walking Dead. He wrote Green Mile. Did he write Saving Private Ryan, or was he just?
I don't know.
Because he's credited with Saving Private Ryan, but I don't know why.
Huh. I did not know that he was
Yeah.
involved with that. Let's
I
just
think.
go ahead and pull up his IMDb Rooskies.
And, speaking of my butt, but
Frank. Yeah, no, because I remember seeing a lot of Frank Darabont on AMC
yeah,
when Walking Dead was coming out, and it's just like, wow, he's really into this.
yeah, big time. Well, in the beginning, yeah, rightfully so. Having fun, getting through a great show, and then, like all good things, if you force it to live longer than its shelf life, it will poison you. It will.
Yeah. I guess he did uncredited additional writing for Godzilla
2014.
Yeah.
Oh, him and Dave Callahan.
Yeah, and he also did The Mist. That other Stephen. He's just really a Stephen King head.
Yeah, I
there's
always forget that this
three
is a Stephen King story. I always forget that.
I know, it's one of those things because it's so not a Stephen King story.
No.
But then again, neither is Green Mile.
Right. And in so many ways, like, it kind of is, though, in the sense of, like, how the story is paced. Like, Stephen King definitely has a very specific way that he writes stories, right? They are not, they are over a period of time. There's a lot of character growth and develop, like it being basically 2 books in one where they're young and they're old. And he likes to kind of, The Shining takes place basically over a winter, right? And, obviously he's not the only storyteller to do it that way, but it just feels so different, right? Like,
it's long.
It's very long.
Story.
You get to see the real, like, fruition of the characters.
And you get to sit in it.
Yeah, you sit in it from beginning to end,
Yeah.
where a lot of movies they take you to the highlights, right? They take you to the big beats. They're, as we talk about all the time, they're shackled by structure in a lot of ways. And he uses structure for sure. He's a great writer and he's a great storyteller, and to do that you have to know the basics. But then it's what he does in the middle that makes him really unique. Yeah.
Right. I'll start off with this question. Do you think Andy's guilty?
Do I think Andy's guilty?
Did he kill that person?
See, the tricky part is with the guy, right? Okay, so the guy coming in and saying, "Oh, I had this cellmate that told me this story. That's exactly right." Like, he believes it so much, and this guy, well, I don't know. I guess at this point he definitely had a pretty vested interest in Andy. They were teaching and working. Yeah, probably. I mean, the coincidence, right? It's like the judge said, just seems like an awful coincidence. Then he's like, for me, it's a rather huge inconvenience. But like, it's crazy to think that, because this movie, what's really cool is the narrative structure. Like, it's pretty much Red telling the story.
Yeah,
right?
no, it's all Morgan Freeman narration. Andy Dufresne came to Shawshank Prison.
So you could see it as basically really what it is it's him in that halfway house after he's gotten out, right before he's going to go see Andy, reflecting on everything that led up to that moment, his relationship with Andy and who Andy was, right? And that's why Andy's the protagonist of the story, but the true eyes that we're looking through are Red's, obviously, with him being the narrator. So you would have to think that if Red is your narrator, if Red is your, voice in this thing, he would be incentivized to make Andy look innocent. He would be incentivized.
True, and I mean, then again, it never came up.
Never came
with
up.
them. So it's like, yeah, if Red is the eyes for the audience, then he doesn't know, so it's not a part of the story.
Right, exactly. Whether he's, being malicious, well, not malicious, but facetious or not.
Facetious or not. Yeah, Red is pretty goddamn facetious.
He's a
that
facetious
whole movie.
fella.
He's facetious as fuck.
Going and getting all the cigarettes and hot lady posters,
Yep.
you know what I mean?
And a rock hammer.
Yeah, the rock hammer, which, okay. This is something that I was thinking about is, he digs the tunnel through, right? And
Spoiler alert.
So, well, oh yeah, he escapes. No, so he digs the tunnel, right, and starts, and it shows it where he's just like kind of tink, tink, tink after he does his name, and the rock falls off. It's like, oh shit, this is pretty frail rock, right? So then they show that he would put the poster up and he would duck behind and tink, 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 work on it. But once you get past the point where you can't reach anymore, is he now crawling into this thing and just
And he just leaves the poster down
crazy
behind him, so it's like he can't even.
And he's just
see.
kind of pushing the rock back. I mean, he had 20 years, right?
Well,
so of course
he was every morning he was going with his pockets full of rocks and dropping them through
so there would be no pile up.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so just the practicality of that is so incredible. I mean, I'm not making a judgment comment. I'm just shocked. You know what I mean? Like, that's always been my big thing with Prison Break stuff is like the digging a hole through the earth to tunnel out.
Yeah.
The amount of labor that is required to do, if you've just done
You'd
a
have
hole,
to be in there for life.
Yeah, for life, forever. And like Andy, be very smart about it. But geez, that just had to be such a pain in the ass.
Oh, yeah.
But you got to keep your mind occupied.
Exactly.
Do anything.
What he did. What he did. And I think that it's one of those movies that's been parodied a million times with that like big reveal of the tunnel behind the wall and climb through the
very
the sewer pipe.
Godfather-y in the way that I've been like, oh yeah, I've seen all this before. Not this movie, but I've seen all this before.
Yeah, and it's like the part where it's like he gets all the guys working on the roof to they get beer and then he plays the music and all that stuff and it's like. And for just that moment, everyone felt what it tasted like to be free.
Yeah.
That kind of shit. It's like, yeah, you've seen that everywhere.
100%. Yep.
How'd you like the Warden?
Oh man, was he frustrating? Was he a piece of work? This evil man. I think you have to be a psychopath to work that job. You know what I mean? Like, because to establish,
you have to have incredible empathy or intolerable arrogance.
And I think in the prison, I mean, this is where you're dealing
sociopathy.
Exactly, you're dealing with these people at their most like absolute raw. Their life has been taken away from them.
People are getting raped left and right.
Which the sisters did. Boy, was I happy when that dude got it. Hey, shout out to Clancy Brown also, by the way.
Yeah, Clancy Brown was the guard.
Hell of
guy.
A career. He does an iconic role in an iconic movie, and then he just voice acts, and he's one of the best voice actors ever. That's what he's done.
He's been doing all this while being Mr. Krabs for 20 years.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, he went from that.
Money.
He went from that to fucking SpongeBob. Yeah. And it was great. It's amazing. And yeah, the Warden.
It's a crowd.
To be a Warden, you literally have to run this. It's an alpha type situation, but with like rabid outlaws, or rabid alphas. You know what I mean? Outlaw rabid
Everyone
alphas.
trying to alpha out each other.
Exactly.
And you have to be King Alpha.
And these are people that some of them are willing to kill people. Some of them are willing to steal from people. Like, they're all willing to do something that is no bueno in society for their own self-interest, right? And now you've taken away anything they could have self-interest in.
Their rights.
Their rights, exactly. And how do you lay down the law and make sure that they follow the rules?
Yeah,
Well,
they don't have anything to care about. They've lost everything.
you have to be the criminal to rule all criminals, I think,
Yeah.
which ends up being true by the end of the movie. But I think just in general, even wardens that don't commit crimes and, fuck with money and shit like this guy, you got to be a bit of a psychopath, right?
I mean, like, think about psychopathic wardens. I mean, Human Centipede 3.
Oh, Christ. I mean,
that guy signed off on putting all the inmates ass to mouth.
That's right. Now, a lot of people.
And I'm so glad I haven't seen either of the sequels.
Never will watch
I
any of
remember
them.
we started watching Human Centipede 2 at my house, and we were getting into it, and it was like, it was starting to get gross and stuff, and then I think it was either Trevor or Garrett. They just go, why are we watching this?
Exactly.
And I'm like, yeah, why are we watching this? Yeah. Nobody's enjoying themselves. What the fuck?
There's nothing about lips stitched to sphincter that makes me go, oh, I need to see what happens.
Yeah, or a dude jerking off sandpaper.
Yeah, none of it is enticing.
It's
none
not
of it
natural. None of it.
It's true.
Exactly.
Nice LOTR shout out. Or ref. Your reference killer, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Okay, so let's talk about it being number one on the list, right?
All right, is it the GOAT in your eyes?
Is it
just by standard? Like, do you agree with the list? If you were gonna say, okay, the total collective audience has voted on this thing, I can see it being the best movie of all time.
Sure.
I would have figured Forrest Gump above Shawshank Redemption.
Sure.
But Shawshank Redemption is just goddamn great.
Yeah, I think,
and it's amazing it didn't win anything.
Right. I saw that. Like, it got nominations though, right?
Pretty sure. Let's see.
Had to have, right? But I think here's the thing with it being number one.
Nominated for 7 Oscars, 0 wins.
Gotcha. Damn.
Yeah.
Disappointing.
Best music, best editing, best sound, best cinematography, best writing, best actor in a leading role, Morgan Freeman, best picture.
Morgan Freeman they picked as the leading role? Nice. Good.
I mean, because you said it right there. I mean,
exactly.
He is the
so long as we all know, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing, right? Because it's IMDb, right? But we just put X number of stars next to whichever movie that any of us want to rate, right?
Yeah.
So really what that list is, I think, is a rating system of the best executed visions, right?
Yeah.
So would I say this is the greatest movie of all time? I don't think so.
2.4 million people think so. I'm one of them.
And I
gave it a 10.
I give it a 10. I
want it to remain firm forever.
And it's not a 10 of like, oh, I want this to, I want to show that I get the movie or something like that. No, it was a 10 to say this was a 10. I really thought this was amazing.
It was an enjoyable experience all the way through, no complaints.
Right. And I've watched a lot of 10s. And so many, I mean, again, it's like, it's such a tricky discussion because then people are like, oh, you don't like it? I'm like, no, it's not that I don't like it. You know what I mean? But like, for me, Infinity War in a lot of ways might have been the greatest movie I'd ever seen, but that's just for me.
Yeah.
Return of the King.
I didn't get to see any of the Lord of the Rings in theater.
I only saw Return
that was
of
the
the
big bummer.
Yeah.
And, having just rewatched Fellowship and I'm working on Two Towers, like Fellowship is... I've seen, like, that's a movie that I'd seen in passing, like, whether it was at your house, Carl's house, it was just on. I never actually sat down and watched it until, like, middle school. And it was like, oh, this is like 3 movies in one.
Yeah. And then they do it 2 more times.
Because you get the getting to Rivendell and assembling the Fellowship, then Mines of Moria, and then the fucking Uruk-hai attack.
Yep. Yeah, every one of the books is split into 2 parts, basically.
Really?
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. It goes up until they get to Rivendell, and then from the Fellowship on, and then I think in the other 2, it's just basically Frodo and Sam, and then Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli. So it's like Frodo and Sam get their own book, Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli get their own book.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah, no, it works. It's awesome. Yeah. It's like a really smart way to do it. Makes you understand why it's one of the
it does feel like
goats.
2 different movies when you're watching it, and it's going between the Dead Marshes and Rohan.
Exactly. Yeah, 2 totally different scenarios, 2 different things, but so connected.
Yeah.
Much like this film, where you had. No,
I'll
there's
say
not a good
this for the
segue
movie
there.
that I have, like, it's one of those movies that it just gives me nothing but pure enjoyment out of it. Like, everything was just done perfectly, exactly, executed.
Well, I mean,
like,
fat prisoner getting beaten to death, and any moment with the sisters was a little uncomfortable, but that's what it's about. Here's one thing I'll say, and then I'll let you get back because I interrupted.
I forgot. See, that's so rough. I remember the sister scene, but I forgot about the fat guy until you just reminded me.
Yeah, just whoops the shit out of him. And I remember last night
killed him for crying.
Yeah, for basically just like on his first night being
on his first night, they killed him for crying.
Yeah. Yep, that's how they do. That's how Clancy does it. And it made me go, I think I'm going to stay in my house forever because I can never go to jail. I can't have it. 3
hots and a cots, baby.
No
you don't have to worry
way.
about taxes or anything. You just got to lose all of your rights.
All your rights. And I know I couldn't do it in prison. I know I would be the bitch for sure. I know myself very well. You know, I'd be lifting weights and whatnot. But the moment someone tries to intimidate me, I'm bending, dude.
You're putting your cheeks aside.
I'm giving a little, you know what I mean?
Putting your pride, dignity, and cheeks on the line to get clapped by some inmates.
I mean, I guess I have to. I don't really know. I mean, it feels like it's going to happen. If they have,
it feels like an inevitability. His dick is gonna be in your butt.
That's the thing that I was thinking was like the sisters. They come in 4, right? You can't beat that. They're gonna corner you when nobody's there, and they just grab them.
So 4 is the ideal number to overpower and rape a person.
I mean, I think you can get the job done with 3, potentially 2, depending who you're bringing in there. But that's the thing.
Depending on who you're bringing in there.
But it's a scary place, man. It's a scary.
But for you,
place.
it would only take one. One dude even insinuates just being like, "Hey, you got a pretty mouth," and you're just like, "All right."
I mean, thank you.
Whip it out.
It'll be like Sam Rockwell in Hail the King or whatever. Exactly.
Hold my pocket.
What'd you think of all the whole time, dude?
The what?
The whole time.
Oh, the whole time was brutal.
Yeah, whole's bad.
Mean, like that is truly just like the most inhumane. That's the thing is like that's the one rule for prisons. You can't really subject people to inhumane, cruel and unusual punishment. But the solitary is totally allowed.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's encouraged.
Yeah, and they're like, hey, this is a solution to the problem. Okay, Get them in there.
I mean, it's a huge deterrent. You don't want to end up in there, but.
No.
If you're Andy Dufresne and you step on the warden's toes, he fucks you up.
Yeah, and it was just like, and it was so annoying.
Because didn't he call him out on embezzling in his taxes?
The part where he threw him in the hole a bunch for a really long time. No, he tried to convince him that he was innocent. Basically, yeah, I think that's all it was. He's like, no, this guy can vouch for me. Like, do you think we can make this happen? And then I think maybe he might have been like, I could expose this place and all that, and he just kept provoking him. But yeah, and I really felt like
he was like supposed to get out.
Yeah,
and he just was like, "No, you're going in the hole."
Yeah,
in the hole. Craig T. Nelson did that to Earl in My Name Is Earl.
It's true. Put him in the hole.
You put him in the hole way past his due.
Mm-hmm. It's a good way to create utter subservience or your worst, or to bring all the karma straight to you. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Did you recognize who was playing the warden?
He was so familiar.
He was on that episode of New Girl where he was with Schmidt the whole time, and he's like the age higher. And he's talking about avocados the whole time. And I was just like, hey, that's the fucking warden from Shawshank.
Warden, dude.
What's that man's name? What's that actor's name? Bob Gunton.
Yeah.
Yep.
Bob Gunton.
He was also in Daredevil.
Huh.
That's right. He was butting heads with Kingpin.
Sure.
He was like a criminal guy.
You'd think he would have maybe a bit of a bigger career after that role. That's a big part of that movie. But hey,
I mean,
probably made his money.
I mean, he's probably been in plenty of other shit, dude. I mean, he was in Argo. He was in an episode of Wilfred.
Okay.
He played the warden in Family Guy for a cutaway, I'm sure.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, he's just been all over the place, man. Yeah. He's just been working it.
Just working hard.
Working it.
So going back to the execution aspect, because I think because the key with this movie really is that for what it is supposed to be, I think you can't argue that it's executed to perfection, right? Like I think as far as a prison movie and like kind of diving into what it means to be in prison, what it means to be rightfully or wrongfully convicted. You know what I mean? Like they really address that well. All the characters are really engaging. The pacing of it is interesting and different and unique, right? But it all comes together in a very satisfying way and ways that surprise you and ways that feel justified, you know?
Yeah, no, exactly. That's 100% true. And I mean, like, I never finished it, but I remember watching The Night Of with Riz Ahmed. And I only got like 2 or 3 episodes into it. I didn't finish it, but because it was just harsh, bro.
Yeah.
Brutal showing prison life like that. And then there's that show Oz, J.K. Simmons telling people to suck his dick and stuff. Oh my God. Brutal. I've seen clips from that show.
We are farmers. Bumble, suck my dick.
Exactly. Yeah, he was like the leader of the skinheads in the prison.
J.K. Simmons is probably a skinhead.
I can believe that.
I could see it.
Yeah.
Look at him. Look at his hair nowadays. Gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes me think that he assumed that Spider-Man was black.
That's right. It makes me think that in was it the Tomorrow War? He was trying to push Sam Richardson towards the creatures the whole time, and that's what I suspected when I watched it. And I thought, no, it's J.K. You know, he's J. Jonah Jameson. He's doing the right thing. He's got journalistic integrity.
Yeah.
Nope, I don't think so.
Also, Mark Ralston played the leader of the Sisters, Boggs. And most recently, he's played the motion capture and acting for Norman Osborn in the Spider-Man games.
Oh, nice.
And I was just like, who the fuck is that guy? I know that guy. And I looked at it, and I was like, oh, yeah. He's also Corporal Drake from Aliens, the big heavy machine gunner guy. It's just he's got fucking bleach blonde hair and that, and he's a ginger the rest of the time.
I see.
You know, but he's a great actor, too.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, maybe that's another thing to add to the execution conversation is just not a scene of that movie felt unneeded.
Yeah, nothing felt wasteful.
Nothing was gratuitous.
Yeah, nothing was gratuitous or wasteful.
Yeah, everything.
Oh, yeah, he was also Delahunt in The Departed.
Oh,
right. The
okay.
Irish guy.
That might have been where I remember him.
The
from.
Irish guy.
Yeah, and then, oh my gosh, you want to talk about a super sad part. What was his name? The guy that hangs himself? Brooks.
Brooks was here, baby. Oof. That was particularly rough. Like his birds, the library, and then they're like, you know what? You're too old to be in prison. Go home. And he's like, I have nothing else.
What? Oh, this is home. What do you mean?
Yeah,
you know?
like he was actually bummed to be getting out of prison, and then he just couldn't hack it in the real world.
Yeah.
I mean, makes you wonder how when you get to that level of institutionalized, if there's a way back.
Mm-hmm.
I
think it's hard to say. You know, if he's been there, like Morgan Freeman said, but like Red says, you know, he's been here for 50 years. This is all he knows. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you can't. I mean, it feels like almost an extra level of continued punishment. You know, it doesn't feel like they're helping him out or anything like that. Like Red's a little different because he's, you know, he's younger when he gets out, you know, obviously new ownership of the prison, you know.
Yeah.
They seem much more reasonable than the previous warden. But poor Brooks, just, you know, he's a librarian. He had it better in
prison.
Yeah,
because nobody fucked with him.
And I'd rather
everybody
be a
had
librarian
Brooks's
than a
back
grocer.
and everything. Like it was like that. They were his family at that point.
Like, nothing wrong with being a grocer, but at least at a library you can read and it's a little slower, and like the people know you and they talk to you. And then he goes to the grocery store and they're just bitching and moaning at him because he's not double bagging. You know what I mean?
He's not fast enough.
And he's so nice. He's like, oh yeah, of course I'll double my B, and they're just getting angry at him.
Fucking cruel.
Oh,
dude.
terrible.
Cruel.
But you know, again, it's I mean, it's hard because it's like even Red says in the one scene, he's like, you know, I'm doing anything I could think of to break my parole to get them to put me back in there. You know what I mean? It's the same with war. It's the same with any sort of.
Do you remember what year this took place in?
So I think he gets arrested in 44.
Okay, I was saying like 47.
And it might have been 40. It's 44 or 47, and it takes place over the course of like 20 years, right? Because that's how long he's in there. Yeah, and at that point, Red had been in there once he gets out, but we don't know how long in between when Andy escapes and when Red gets out.
Right. I'd have to assume it was pretty soon.
Pretty recent. Pretty quick. Yeah.
Yeah. I love the scene of when he actually does get into the pipe and he's like waiting for the lightning strike with the rock.
but it seems like he is missing the beat.
Yeah, a little bit. You know what's hilarious was they were doing a Family Guy thing where it was like 3 Stephen King stories in it. It was called Three Kings, and one of them was the Shawshank Redemption. And Peter's, Andy Dufresne, and he's escaping, and he sees the warden's office. And he's watching Friends, and when it gets to the clapping part at the beginning, he smashes the rock to it, and then all the poo starts blowing out of the pipe and everything.
Oh, man. Would you have crawled through 5 football fields of poo, Sammy?
Oh, my God.
A fecal?
Like, I'd have to really want to be free, Jack. Yeah. I'd have to really want to be free.
Do you remember? This is a total side note, but when we would do the pregame meals, and it'd be you, me, and Joey riding around in his old truck, and then he had those little like animal butt things.
Oh my God, dude! No, yeah, that's right. It's just shitting all over me, dude. I think that was like the first version of "Oh God, I'm peeing. I'm peeing. Oh God.
Oh man,
I'm just peeing."
I'll never forget the best part of that was
because how long I did it, and Joey didn't say a word, and he was trying to just like force it down.
Oh man,
the shit shower, man.
That's your Shawshank Redemption. You go through the poop shower.
All the barnyard animal butt magnets.
That's right.
Why did he have those, man?
Yeah, I don't know.
He had them.
Yeah.
Like he didn't even get rid of them after that.
No, he got that. Made them need to stay. You know what I mean?
Animal butt magnets, super interesting.
That's right.
But I don't know, dude. Like,
yeah. What do you think? What's a good question?
I feel like I'd throw up and pass out.
Yeah.
Like the fumes, dude. The
sure.
fumes.
Yeah. Well, I think Well, he does throw up a couple times, but then at that point, you're like, that was my thing when he goes in and he like goes to get the money from the bank or whatever, or drop the stuff off, and he walks in. I just imagine the lady going, "Oh fuck!" Like that smell doesn't come off the next day.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
That's with you for a week.
Yeah, and I mean, like you think about like plumbing in the 50s.
Mm-hmm. Oh, jeez.
Maybe even early 60s by that point.
Yeah. Whatever it takes for freedom, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also, another thing the movie did really well
he
was...
swam through a river of shit and came out clean.
That's right. The allusions and the metaphors and things like that. Very.
What do you think the redemption is in the Shawshank Redemption?
Him getting free because he was innocent, quote unquote.
Was he though?
Well, I don't know. This is Red's story.
I'm
sure Red feels very redeemed after this.
I'm liable to believe that he's innocent purely just because he wanted to be free that bad.
True.
You know, I like I said, I'd have to really want to be free.
Or maybe he fucked up super big time and he was like, I'll never do it again, but I shouldn't be here for this,
Yeah.
Because he is definitely, he is much, well, okay. This is probably more credit.
Trying to fight the mob.
This is probably more of a credit to him being innocent. Is he's like the one that never, makes a huge scene about being innocent, right? There's obviously the recurring thing. Oh, we're all innocent in here. My lawyer screwed me over. Yada yada. That's a prison thing. But in that first night that he gets there, he definitely seems to be the most like, well, shit. I'm stuck here,
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine if he didn't get that hammer and he didn't knock down that piece of rock? Who knows who he would have become? Because
I know. Because he was originally using the rock hammer to make chess pieces.
That's right.
Shit. Like, he was using it.
And then he chips and, like, he goes, oh, fuck, I can get out of here. Like,
this is some soft concrete.
Yeah, like, you got to imagine he's had that in the back of his mind for 20 years.
Yeah. Not tell a single person.
But he's just always got it when he's in solitary, right? He always knows, I'm almost out of this thing. I think I can do it, right? I think, because they're like, Red's like, the killing of the kid was too much for Red, or for Andy. He had to get out after that, right? Yeah. I'm like, I think that was a huge motivating factor, but I think also he just finished and it was time. It was time to go. He made the hole, and why wait any longer? You know?
He was just like, I've had it.
He's like, I just need a clean set of shoes, some shiny shoes. Oh, the warden's going to make me do that. Got to get the right papers together. Ooh, put them in my back pocket, which, how uncomfortable would that be to have a Bible and like 2 manila envelopes sticking out of the back of your belt? You know what I
know,
mean?
right?
But you do what you got to do. If you're going to climb through a sewer of shit, then you got to do what you got to do.
Andy Dufresne did what Andy Dufresne had to do.
If anything, maybe it gave him good posture. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
you know. And then he went to Zihuatanejo.
That's right. That's right. And clean up a boat.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And God, what was it that? It was something that did a parody where it was like, you know, the Morgan Freeman character shows up to the tree and there's no rock. It's like somebody else found it.
Oh,
it's
geez.
just like somebody else found it.
That would have been terrible.
You always run that risk if you ever just leave a message for somebody somewhere.
It's true. It's true. Yeah. Now, that was pretty remote, but I was also thinking the same thing. Like, what if people just see things sometimes? You know what I mean? What if the glimmer of the lunchbox had just somehow the dust had been blown off and it's shined into somebody's eyes? They're like, what's that?
Hey, what's that? Oh, free lunchbox.
And they go down to Mexico, and Andy's like,
Who the
I don't
fuck
know,
are you?
I got you now, man. How'd you know my nickname was Red?
Is your name Red? No, I didn't think so. So why'd you read it?
You
never opened another man's mail.
It just seemed like something to do.
Yeah. That would be so fucking funny. But, so the Warden kills himself, Jack.
Yeah, big time.
How'd you feel about that?
Made me happy. I wanted that guy out of the picture.
Yep.
Him and the main sister. They drove me crazy. They were bad guys.
Wasn't it that like the guards went and fucked him up because Andy was like working for the Warden?
Yeah.
They were just like, all right, we're gonna solve your problem.
Well, that was the interest. Again, this is a Stephen King thing. Like,
they broke the shit out of his jaw and everything.
Oh yeah, they fucked him up, and like basically they were like, for the little bit of time he still lived, he couldn't move or speak.
Yeah,
right?
no, he was fucking crippled.
Yeah, he was done. Yeah, it's interesting, the ebbs and the flows, right? Which again is good storytelling. Like a good season of TV should do this. You know, any good movie or good book like should make you go like, oh shit, we're in a bad situation. Oh wow, okay, things are improving. Oh no, wait, okay, I think he can get out. Oh no, and then he gets out. It's it's how it goes. But you want that roller coaster.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you know, another Family Guy parody popped up in my head. It was the most random one. I don't know what the setup was, but it was like the Monopoly man with the he's being cornered by the sisters, and it's got Morgan Freeman narrating. It's like, now I wish I could say that the Monopoly man put up a good fight.
I think I remember that one.
It's so fucking random. Right? I think it was a play on it's like, that's what happened when the Monopoly man went straight to jail or something like that. You know, I'd like to say the Monopoly man put up a good fight, but the sisters cornered him.
Oh man.
Yeah. No, see, and it's one of those movies that's real simple. So like, you know, you're watching it and you get through it and it's like 2 hours long, but it feels like a breeze and you remember just about each part, you know?
Yeah. Like we were saying, there's just not a scene that feels egregious. You know what I mean? There's not a scene that takes you out of it or
doesn't have any like loose fat.
Yeah. I think a great movie should leave you no time to go to the bathroom. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. And by the time you get done with it, you're just like, wow, I'm glad that I didn't have to get up for any part.
That's
amazing.
amazing.
That was enjoyable through and through.
You sprint to the bathroom, you're like, oh, that fucking movie is so good, you know?
Yeah. What do you think of Tim Robbins?
Love Tim Robbins, man. He's great. He did a great job in this. He's interesting because I haven't really seen him in too much. I know he's a big deal, but he's definitely like at least in this for sure, definitely much more reserved, which I think shows a real good actor. Like anybody can be loud and boisterous and like run the show, but you know, like there's only certain Morgan Freemans that can like carry a narration like that. And I think Tim Robbins shows his acting chops when he's not speaking in this movie, you know, when he's just being in prison, doing the things.
Yeah.
I think that's really where he shines.
2 Tim Robbins performances that I think you ought to watch. I know for a fact
Anchorman.
I know for a fact they're on this list, but Robert Altman's The Player. But that is actually that's not on the top 250. Wow, interesting. And then Clint Eastwood's Mystic River.
Okay.
Neither of them are on the list, but oh my god, Mystic River in particular. Him and Sean Penn are outrageously good.
Yeah.
Like the part when Sean Penn finds out that his daughter's been murdered, and he breaks down, dude. It's like thinking about it fucking makes me want to cry. It's like, Jesus Christ, Sean Penn.
It's real.
And Kevin Bacon's great in it, but it's a real crazy movie how it goes about. And Tim Robbins in particular, I think he and Sean Penn won Oscars for it.
Why do you think this movie didn't?
Yeah, Sean Penn and Tim Robbins won.
Oh, probably because it came out with Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction. I would have to say Pulp Fiction. And then I don't even know what won Best Picture that year. Let's see.
Pulp Fiction, maybe?
No, Pulp Fiction didn't win Best Picture. It got Best Original Screenplay.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Because the Academy doesn't like gimps.
I don't think Tarantino's won a Best Picture.
Probably makes sense. I mean, not that I agree, but knowing the Academy, it makes sense.
Wow, it already knew I was going to go for 1990 from Schindler's List.
Wow, you've got...
Oh, wait, no, that came out in 93.
But maybe it was up for nomination then.
God, I keep forgetting, if you're going to look up a movie's year in the Oscars, you got to look into the next year.
Oh, yeah, it's like football.
Yeah, or Cars.
Yeah.
You know?
Or any...
Best Picture in 1995. Forrest Gump.
See,
that's what happened.
You got
Shawshank and
movies.
Forrest Gump and Pulp Fiction all in the same year,
coming off the heels of Schindler's List. Like the early 90s, like redefined movies, like Tarantino was saying.
It's crazy, too, because 93, Spielberg put out Schindler's List and Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
You know?
I listened to a podcast about Robin Williams, The Time Suck by Dan Cummins. Check it out. It's an amazing podcast.
You sent me that
and he brings up that apparently Robin Williams would call Steven Spielberg once a week while he's making Schindler's List and do an hour of stand-up just for him.
To cheer him up?
Yep, because that movie was so draining.
Yeah, I saw it in the Spielberg documentary on HBO, dude. That movie really fucked with him.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I mean, it's his people, man. He's making a movie for his people. I mean,
like literally the worst thing that's probably ever happened.
Yeah. You know, and then like the final scene where all these Holocaust survivors, like children and stuff, where they're going to the grave of Oscar Schindler, him just filming that. He was just like, that was the hardest day of filming I've ever had in my life.
Wow.
Just because of how goddamn deep that was. Like,
it's another one I haven't seen that I'm very excited here in the next couple months. We'll be watching that one.
Yeah, what number is that?
I think it's like 7, maybe 6 or 7, maybe 5, maybe 3, 2, 5, 6.
It's
8.
it's gonna be.
Let me see if I can.
Number 6.
6.
Yeah,
I was in the ballpark.
Yeah, because we do the 2 Godfathers next.
Bada bing, bada boom.
I don't know if you want to do a combo, doggy.
I was thinking, why
Why
not? We got 250 months of this.
Part 1 flows into part 2,
right,
like seamlessly.
True.
And the Dork Night.
Yep, sure. That would be a fun one.
12 Angry Men. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah? I haven't seen it.
I watched it in school.
Ah, gotcha. Then Lord of the Rings, Return of the King.
Can't wait.
Pulp
we
Fiction.
should just do all 3 Lord of the Rings, probably.
I think we should, and then we could just release 2 Towers and Fellowship later.
Like
we could just do 3 separate episodes and then release them in that time.
Oh yeah, that's
Bank
a good idea.
them.
Sure. We could do that for
because I feel like it would be so fucking jarring to just be like, okay, so we're gonna start with the 3rd one, then go to the 1st one, and then the 2nd one.
Exactly.
Like just do them all in order and then release them when they're supposed to come out.
Makes sense.
But we got to do that at some point.
Yeah, well, a couple.
Then Pulp Fiction. Then my favorite, Get the Bad and the Ugly. Dude, I'm so excited for you with that one.
It's again these old movies. Like it's not that I don't want to. It's just the like, it's so easy to pop on a show, right? Because it's 30 minutes, hour, right, and then you move into the next one, or you can condense that time, and you get like used to that schedule, and you forget how good it is just to watch an original good movie. Like that's what cinema and cinema is movies, but like entertainment, the biggest thing was movies.
Yeah.
Up until very recently. And it still kind of is in a lot of ways, but like these types of films.
They're movies now. I understand what fucking Scorsese means when he's like, yeah, it seems like all that's being put out is big fucking popcorn movies. It doesn't have the depth or substance. I would disagree in the terms of Marvel, but it's like Transformers,
right?
Rampage, these so over the top, senseless ones that the pure design
Rock and Michael Bay.
The design of them is to not be good. They're to be like interesting enough to get tickets sold to it.
Yeah, totally.
And it's like, I don't know, man. Go back to let directors direct and writers write, because that's what made good shit good. you know, I was texting you last night. I was watching Two Towers. I'm 23 minutes in. I'm like, that was easily 60 pages of shit that happened in that
big time
period. Like,
big time.
I gotta watch or read like a script of that just to see how fucking long.
How the pacing was, because it's probably even longer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
that's crazy too. Those movies are like all 4 hours long, and the pacing is phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's what I think. Really, again, going to these top 250, and especially these, you know, probably top 50 that we'll watch. I think the pacing is really the key. The thing that, because that's everybody's gripe with like Infinity War, right? Is that you know, there's just so many characters. There's not really good continuity through line. There's 4 different stories happening.
Yeah.
Right? And again, we're in a totally different ballpark when it comes to that. But I think what makes these movies that are winning, like The Dark Knight, is
flawlessly paced.
Flawlessly paced. Like everything is executed to perfection as far as the journey and the ride you're going on. And it's not a blockbuster, you know, buckle in. It's a symphony. It's an orchestra. It's a journey that they're taking you through in a melody, right? It's good storytelling. It's being able to connect threads while also introducing new ideas in authentic ways and displaying a master craft in a very realistic way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing about Lord of the Rings. Yeah, it's fantasy and it's crazy and it's wild. But to me, that world is just as real as Shawshank Redemption. You know what I mean? It's just as believable and understandable. The rules are set up. The characters are believable. You know, the journeys that they go on make sense and all come together in a way that, you know, this is where like writing for theme always, you know, makes me nervous, because it's like, how do you start in that place? And I don't know. It depends on the writer, but like, I think a lot of the time you piece together this great story, and if you're a really good storyteller.
So when you say writing for theme,
like Shawshank Redemption, an easy theme would be freedom, right? Like, oh, okay, I'm going to make this. Like
okay, so like Guardians of the Galaxy, family, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, fatherhood.
Like, is that why you picked the movie to make? Or like, you know, these kind of subtle.
Well, it's like my AVP movies about family shit.
Right. But you kind of found that through the creation of the
making
story.
It. Yeah,
exactly.
The theme came to me after I was developing the shit.
And I think what makes
I was
it
like,
great.
oh, that locks in, because you can play with so many depths. And also, I mean, like, you think about it too. It's almost like it's a class warfare.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Predators are like rich billionaires. You can't beat them.
It's true.
And humans are humans, and then the aliens are just like a force of nature.
Yeah, they're animals. Yeah. You know, they're just beasts.
Yeah.
Beasts.
Humans are divided too. There's the corporate side and then the rancher side. Dude, I'm working with themes here.
That's right, dude. That's right. And that's, again, like what makes a great writer is, or not a writer, storyteller, you know, directors, editors, writers, actors, producers, if they're really actually paying attention to what they're trying to actually make, are really good at, is finding that theme through this story and not just going like, all right, we need an action set. They're, again, no offense, Blake Snyder, you know, you helped us get started, but like, save the cat. Why do we have to check these boxes the whole time?
Well, the theme of The Dark Knight was chaos.
Yeah.
Because that was the whole thing that Joker was trying to do, was prove himself right.
Right.
With setting off all this chaos, and he's just like, watch, it's going to unfold this way. That they're going to blow each other up down there.
Yep.
Or, you know, Harvey Dent's going to go on a fucking murder spree. You know, because I'm right. It's all chaos. The theme for Batman Begins was fear. This one was chaos. And then Dark Knight Rises was pain.
Yeah, exactly. And you find that in, like, instead of writing to, again, hit certain, you know, checks on the list, right? That, you know, big monster fight here, you know, hot sex scene here, you know, super funny side character here. Like, that's all well and good, I guess, for a while. Yeah. But what makes something unforgettable is that, you know, it's not these, you know, basic things that people are looking for. It's this interesting idea that almost the audience wasn't even thinking of when they first stepped into the theater, and then they leave, you know, maybe not forever changed, but forever having a reference for whatever that thing is that they're trying to communicate, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I'm looking here just at these top, you know, lists, and aside from the Lord of the Rings, there's really nothing that's special effects driven, aside from Inception, Empire Strikes Back, Matrix. But I mean, you think about it all, it's like all of those were revolutionary at the time. Like, I remember seeing the fucking Inception the trailer, and everyone just lost their collective shit.
Yeah.
They were like, what?
Yeah. Well, and that's
Dreams within a dream within a dream?
Inception isn't about, cities flipping over on each other, but that's a really cool aspect of again, the cool stuff comes from the reality and the mythos of what you're conveying. The thing that makes it good is that there is substance to it. There is a heart to it. There is some reason that we're there to watch it,
And I would say the execution was very good for that movie. I'd say the execution for Tenet was a little sloppier.
Yeah. I felt like Tenet was totally a grab at big action set pieces.
It was. And I mean, it did fucking phenomenal.
Amazing.
But I mean, like, in between each set piece is just all exposition trying to make these rules work.
Yeah.
So the movie could happen.
Right.
There's a lot of walk and talk sequences.
Yes.
Also, walking, they start talking, and then they go to a different location, and they pick up the sentence there.
Yeah.
That happened, but Inception does that shit a lot, too.
Sure.
But, yeah, no, I think that Christopher Nolan just kind of bit off a little bit more than he could chew as far as the crazy concept stuff in Tenet.
Got a little overexcited.
Yeah. I mean, I liked it, but I mean, he didn't even take the time to name the main character.
Right. It's true. It's very true. You know what else is interesting about Shawshank is
What's that?
That they have like contained stories.
Yeah.
So you have, kind of his because I watched this and I think I had to do 3 sittings. Just, I fell asleep last night and then I had so much time before work, and then I caught it before I came over here. But I'm kind of glad I did because it broke itself up into Andy's life in prison, like becoming a prisoner, right? And that's a lot of the stuff with the sisters.
He's got to get over
the
that,
guards,
and then he finally gets
getting to know Red.
Yeah, he opens up to Red after a long time of just staring at him.
Right, exactly. And then the second part is kind of more, that's where you see Brooks. Like it is this isn't just about being in prison. It's about life after prison or life. What does prison create? What does it make you? What, you get to see Andy start to kind of come into his own. Is he becoming himself because he's in prison, or is this just changing him, or, what's he up to? And then the final beat basically, because I think I picked it up before I came over from where the young guy shows up and, he, reveals that, Andy's innocent, yada, yada, and then Andy's escape. So it's kind of Andy's journey from there, right? So it's what's it like to be in prison? Then it's what does prison do to you? And then it's, Andy's redemption, getting out, being free and overcoming those different things and addressing a lot of the things that were set up, where I think a lot of movies, they try to go big full circle. You know what I mean? This was very much like step 1, step 2, step 3. And I really like that.
No, he gets 3 separate arcs in it.
Yep. It's not the, bad guy, long kind of, hero redemption and come back and fight bad guy. And
well, it's like the Warden doesn't really even seem like all that bad of a guy until he flips.
Right.
Because he seemed totally cool working with Andy, getting him to do the taxes for everybody, and was totally fine with that. And
until his life was going to change.
His life was going to change, and he's like, oh, fuck.
I need this guy. This guy makes me money.
Yeah.
And if he goes, and he's like, there's no reason for me ever to let this guy out.
No.
Yeah.
It just surely benefits him.
Yeah.
To have Andy Dufresne be in that prison.
Yeah.
And I mean, you think about it too. I mean, the way prisons are operated now with mandatory minimums and shit like that. I mean, that's kind of how they are. They're like, it benefits me, the private owner of this prison, to have it full.
Exactly.
And you know what? If it's not at the capacity I want it to be, I get to sue the state.
Yeah, it's a pretty fucked up system.
It's real fucked up.
Yeah, it's strange.
It's like remember on Veep, the guy towards the end, he's the what was his fucking name? But he was Jonah's father-in-law.
Yeah.
and he was just like, who said it? I think it was Kent. Says it, that he's like, he puts the Jew in I fucking hate Jews. It's like, wow, that's a pretty harsh sentence. When you meet the guy and he's like, oh, this guy's a piece of shit.
Yeah,
he's
time.
Trying to leverage all these laws to get more people into his prisons. Fuck this asshole.
That's how they try to do it, man. It's incentivized, and it's an interesting thing because you've got him who's very like isolated, king in his tower. You know, he's got his guards that do whatever he wants for him. He's a dictator. He rules over the place. And then you've got the prisoners, right, who are inherently much more unified and together and can kind of, you know, again, Andy just constantly outsmarts him, and it's because he brings everybody else along for the ride. It's not like he's going like, except when he escapes, but like it's not like he's going, oh, I'm better than all these people, or oh, I'm, you know, this, I'm that. He's like, yeah, I'm going to immerse myself into this culture, into these people. And he finds a community, right? Which I think keeps him going.
Lemons to lemonade kind of guy.
Exactly.
He's an opportunist.
Hope. He says hope might be the best of things.
Pure optimism.
100%.
Pure optimism.
Even when the sisters are pounding or butt crushing him. And
butt crushing Andy Dufresne.
Oh, jeez. But
and the sisters were butt crushing Andy Dufresne repeatedly and repeatedly.
I guess he only, of his 20 years, he only really had like 2 years of that, right?
Yeah, because shortly after that, he starts talking to the warden. Buddy.
I'd say. Good to be a banker, dude.
Yeah, wasn't he doing like inmates' taxes first, and then like the guards started asking him?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah. And then one of the yeah. Oh, I think it was the scene on the roof where, you know, they're tarring it and stuff.
Tarring the roof.
Clancy Brown's complaining about one of the people, or like some sort of money situation, and he like goes over and talks him into.
Oh yeah, he gets whacked, right?
He gets whacked. It's not good, but then he gets everybody beers, and they're happy.
They all get beers, and then he locks the warden out of the office to play music for everybody. That gets him a week in the hole. That gets him some whole time.
Whole time. HD.
Andy Dufresne getting the whole time, getting that HD.
That's right.
But it wasn't a hot box, at least.
That's true.
Because that's the real inhumane shit. These fucking southern prisons doing that fucking shit. I mean, poor Adam Sandler in The Longest Yard. Poor Earl. And My Name is Earl.
Again, I just really, really don't want to go to prison. I just really don't want to do it.
I'm going to frame you, dude.
Yeah.
I'm really going to frame you.
I dare you.
Wouldn't be hard.
Yeah, probably not.
You're sloppy.
Yeah, I am. But that's why I would be an obvious not.
And the fact that you don't really text all that much, and you know people don't keep tabs on you, you don't really have alibis. I'll go out, I'll go murder somebody on a night that you have no excuse. You have no alibi.
Right.
And then just be like, you know, Jack's the main suspect. It's gonna be somebody personal to you too.
Sure.
You know. Like somebody you've expressed disdain for.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Jake.
Oh, whoa. Beta boy?
Jacob Beta's head.
I mean, we've all wanted to kill Jacob Beta, okay, but let's not do it, okay?
Yeah, the second he steps off that plane from Alaska, he's getting whacked.
We need that fro.
He's getting whacked.
We need him. You can't. That's
Jack,
one of the greatest
you signed
minds.
a death warrant for Jacob Beta.
No, I didn't. I did no such thing.
He's getting
I don't have
whacked.
a pen in my hand.
It's out of my hands.
Dude, I'll just play this podcast to them.
I'm the Godfather. It's out of my hands. Yeah. On this, the day of my daughter's wedding. We're watching that one next.
Yeah, next month. October.
Yes, October.
It's going to be the Godfathers.
Yeah. Now, final thoughts on Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, I just thought it was phenomenal. I think the acting's great. I think I like how it's Stephen King because it's so unique for Stephen King, but it shows you what Stephen King can do, and I think it's the kind of story that shows you why Stephen King is Stephen King, right? Because this was a short story. So this is probably one of the first things he wrote. I don't know that. I could be wrong.
It was a short story.
Yeah. So, and I know he wrote a ton of short stories and like, you know, mailed them in all the time. So was this one of those? Was this something he did later? It doesn't matter. He was able to convey that story in a short story to said director to create such a, marvelous film, right?
I mean, Frankie D's been all about the Stevie Kings.
Yeah, it's a well of interesting stuff that they get to play with.
Even though The Mist had one of the worst endings I've ever seen in a movie before, Jack, and it's not anywhere near this list. What happens is like Thomas Jane and all these people are stuck in this grocery store while this mist is in there, and there's monsters running around outside. So they escape. They have to leave the grocery store. He escapes with his family, but the mist is closing in. They have no way out, and he's only got 2 bullets left. And so kills his wife and son, and then right then the military comes in and starts killing all the monsters, and it just leaves him there just like, no! It's like, oh my God, that is so cruel.
Terrible.
That's so cruel.
See, that's what Stephen King's capable of, though. Little fucked up endings.
Yeah.
Little Edgar Allan Poe shit. But overall, 10 out of 10, like I said, I think it's a phenomenal piece of storytelling, and I think it like I said, it as far as what they were probably intending to execute is maybe one of the most flawless translations of that I've ever seen.
Right. Mm-hmm. I mean, every shot, every performance was just phenomenal and outstanding. And I mean, like, Forrest Gump sitting at number 13, dude. Or
That's
12.
Yeah.
That's 12.
Yeah.
Because Inception was 13. But that won Best Picture over this.
Yeah.
How? I don't know.
I love
the
me some
Academy's
FG.
rigged.
I think it's partially because Forrest Gump is such a unique movie, and this is like a prison movie, right?
And, I mean, Forrest Gump is just so fucking hilarious,
right?
The whole
and
time
serious.
While being serious, and then it's like he just falls ass backwards through life, and he ends up being successful.
Hey, that's why we love
he
that
falls
film.
ass backward, literally ass into the fucking White House.
Literally, dude. I got to pee.
I got to pay. I believe he said he's got to pay.
What do you think of Shawshank, Sam?
I love this movie. It's one of those, like I said, all-time greats where you just pop it on and just enjoy it start to finish. It's one of those ones that, back in the old days of it being on TV, if you were going through and you're just like, oh, Shawshank Redemption is on, you're stopping and you're watching Shawshank Redemption.
You have to.
And, I mean, now it's a little bit different. One, my DVD was destroyed. I loaned it to Danielle, actually.
Oh, no.
It was stuck in between their couch. I ended up finding it one time, and it was just like crushed to shit by the footrest mechanism. It was just
geez.
like, oh
no.
God. I mean, the case was crushed to shit. The disc was just scratched.
Oh, okay. I was like
it was bad. And then I never got a new copy, but seeing it was on HBO, I'm like, I'm gonna have to watch this. But I never got around to it. But it's like I've seen that movie enough times.
Yeah.
You
didn't do your homework, then?
I did my homework long before you ever did.
Fair.
Been doing it since like 7th grade.
All right. You don't need to brag. I don't need to brag that.
Yeah, no, it's a 10 out of 10er for me, and I really, really just can't think of any other movie that's quite like this. I also, though, have not seen The Green Mile.
Yeah, I haven't either.
I just heard that movie is wildly impactful.
Yeah. Exciting.
Like, Mikey Clark Dunks.
MCD.
Tommy Hanks. Oh, yeah, funny enough, too. I mean, just because I'm that kind of dad-brained, but I have always been, like, calling this movie the Shawshank Redemption, and I am bewildered that there is no porno out there that's ever been made that's called the Shawshank Redemption. That is like lowest hanging possible fucking fruit.
No.
I googled it, like that was the homework I did. I'm like, is Shawshank Redemption a thing? No, it's fucking not.
These are the questions that we need answers.
So coming next summer, Shawshank Redemption, starring Jack Porno Stash Anderson as oh man, what should
Red Cock.
And Andy Duwang. Andy DeFuck.
Yeah, there we go.
Andy Dutrain.
Yeah.
Boom.
Got it. See? Why don't you make pornos, dude?
Dude, I should.
Yeah, you could. You have the talent.
I could win some AVN awards. I have no idea what their awards are. I think it's AVN awards. I don't know. Because they were getting all ready on Workaholics that one episode to watch the AVN awards, and they were all making the predictions like how people do Oscar bingo and shit like that. They were trying to do that, but for porno.
Sure. I love it.
Workaholics, it's great.
Classics.
And they finally put it on Paramount Plus, and so we can watch season 6 and 7 uncensored now.
Nice.
Fuck.
Nice.
Because they didn't sell both of those seasons on Blu-ray. What's up with that?
Ridiculous.
Fucking bullshit.
Ridiculous.
So yeah, go watch Shawshank Redemption coming next summer.
That's right.
It's coming next summer, if you know what I mean. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. CUMMING. That's what I'm talking about.
Down goes the bell. Fuck yeah.
I wasn't even thinking of that. You're on it.
You're
on it.
I saw that pink little button. I knew what it was.
You knew what it was. You knew what it was. But yeah, anyways, go watch the Shawshank Redemption if you haven't, because otherwise, why are you listening to this podcast anyways?
Good question.
But I mean, it is just literally one of the best movies of all time. It's been sitting firm at number 1 because I literally have not met someone who doesn't like the Shawshank Redemption. It's not like Big Lebowski that's polarizing.
Right.
Everyone who's seen the Shawshank Redemption walks out happy.
That's right. 1,000%.
And it's not like you're watching a movie where it feels like you're getting through, miles of shit to come out the other side clean.
Got
like
another chance.
I think the only type of movies like that, it's like fucking Transformers movies. You know, Zack Snyder movies can get that way.
We know. Yeah. Speaking of what's going to be our next week, I think we should watch Reminiscence with Hugh Jackman.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a
I
one
watched
that
that.
came out. Yeah.
I want to see what's up with Huey Jacks.
Let's see. You know,
Dude,
that's.
he had a cameo in Free Guy.
Oh, yeah, well, of course he did.
And it was like this part where he's talking to the woman character, and the guy's head to toe, you know, costumed up. And then I'm just listening to the voice. I'm like, is that fucking Hugh Jackman? I believe it would be Hugh Jackman. But The Rock was in it, too.
Of course he was.
Channing Tatum had a cameo. Captain America's shield and Hulk's hand had cameos.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like that is what he does when he's fighting Dude.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, now I'm going to go ahead and spoil Free Guy for you.
Oh, here we go.
But he's like trying to get the glasses back on, and he equips Captain America's shield, and it starts playing the Avengers theme song, and then he grows Hulk's fist and punches him, and then right after that, he's got a lightsaber.
That's awesome.
Like, that is the most Disney flexing shit I've ever seen.
Yep.
They're like, we own 20th Century Studios now, let's put our shit into it.
We all love it.
Yeah. I mean, it had the tank from Halo. It was weird. I'm like, how'd you guys land on that one? Disney doesn't own them. Spielberg owns
Can't wait
Halo.
to see that one.
It's pretty fun, Jack. I recommend it.
Love it. Love it.
Again, so like, rate, and subscribe. Tune in next week to DMT Reviews, and then that'll be every Monday now, if I remember correctly. And then every Thursday, get dive into DMT Don't Miss This podcast.
Real deal.
You know?
Real deal-ish, dude.
We're getting into NFL season. It's gonna be wacky.
It's going to be wild.
It's gonna be wacky and wild and wet.
Excited.
Very wet.
Very excited.
Are you gonna play DraftKings, Jack? Who knows? Tune in to this week's DMT Don't Miss This podcast after listening to today's DMT Reviews. Like,
And watch Shawshank Redemption.
Watch Shawshank Redemption.
That's right.
You know, don't steal Shawshank Redemption. That's mine.
Yeah, you got to copyright that, dude. Right here, right now.
C with a circle around it.
Boom. Done.
You can't steal that.
Nope.
It's legally binding.
That's right.
Go follow us, SammyB_DMT, Silverback Sasquatch 1162, DMTPcast@gmail.com. Take it sleazy, Mary McJazy.
Love you guys.